everyone, to another episode of What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. Our show focuses on workplace and workforce trends, trying to find people that are doing unique and strong and smart things in their own workplace, as well as find the workplace experts, whether they be consultants or people involved in the workplace some way, that'll give us some insight into what's going on out there. The goal, to make you and me a little bit better at what we do by learning from the experience of others. Now, in my household, one of the most common topics that we can all somewhat talk about is sports. Oftentimes, it's volleyball. My wife being a volleyball coach, my two daughters playing volleyball, we spend a lot of time watching and dissecting and talking volleyball. And during volleyball season, it's on the television. When the collegiate teams are playing, my wife has a sixth sense, and she knows when they're on and just kind of moves to the TV, turns it on, and sure enough, there's a volleyball match. When it's not volleyball, though, it's football, and I think that's probably the case for a lot of Americans and certainly here down in the Deep South. We can watch football and critique these players in ways that, as we sit on the couch in the comfort of our own home, we can second guess them. We can say things like, if I were the quarterback in thy play, I would have done this, or, oh, he threw it too soon, or, oh, he threw it off his back foot, or stuff like that. Now, I've never been in that situation to see opponents, not only opponents, but big, angry, heavy opponents who want to push me down. Not just push me down, but thrash me down. So it's easy for me to sit on the couch with a cold drink in my hand and perhaps even with the fireplace and my feet up and critique these quarterbacks. But goodness knows the work that it takes to do that job well, I think, is beyond the recognition for most of us that watch it. Just like with some of the Olympic sports that I watch every 4 years, and look at how easy these athletes make their sports look, I recognize those that make it look easy are the best, and they've worked the hardest at it. You look at pole vaulting. Well, I could do that. Look at that. That's only 20 feet in the air. I could do that. Look how easy it is. You look at high platform diving. Oh, I could do 16 somersaults off a high platform. Look how easy that is. All you have to do is really jump. I guess that's the hardest thing. What foolish thought, particularly as we watch this quarterback move in the pocket, out of the pocket, make a run, make a throw. We perhaps assume that their job is a little bit easier than it is. But those who make it look easy are the best. And those that are the best don't come about it naturally. We know this about quarterbacks. We know this about all high-level sports, that the amount of work that it takes that we're not aware of is something remarkable. Let's talk about this quarterback for a moment. I by no means am a sport expert. I by no means am a football nor a quarterback expert. But I know this. They get an extraordinary amount of training. They have to keep up with the trends in the game. They have to keep up with the new speed demands required of them and that are coming out of their opponents, the linemen, the linebackers, etc. And it's a nonstop process of getting better. And it takes a special person who has, number one, a remarkable amount of athletic skill, and number two, I think, and I'll learn this soon after the break, a big IQ, a big brain. These have to be smart people that make quick decisions in a moment's notice, and the quick decisions come as a result of an extraordinary amount of training and preparation so that it's reflexive. Let's move to the next chapter of this. What did Eli Manning, A.J. McCarron, Houston Texans, Nick Mullins, San Francisco 49ers, Daniel Jones, New York Giants, Gardner Minshew of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Devlin Hodges of the Pittsburgh Steelers have in common? I'll give you some more. What do Jake Fromm, former quarterback at Georgia, Shea Patterson from Michigan, and Alex Hornibrook from Wisconsin and FSU have in common? The answer? They've all come through QB Country, the nation's leading quarterback training and development company, headed right here in Mobile, Alabama. When we come back from break, we're going to meet David Morris, the CEO and founder of QB Country, and learn about his business and his customers, what he expects from them, what they expect from him, and what his business is going to look like going forward. I can tell you from even reading his bio, it's big. It's big. We'll be back after this break. You're listening to What's Working.
Think about how people really see you. The kid at the drive-thru just sees a coffee drinker.
Please pull forward.
Your local barista sees the person who loves a smiley face in their latte.
See you next time.
It's kind of the same way with insurance. Other insurance companies just see a customer, but a State Farm agent sees more. They see you as a neighbor. Your State Farm agent is here to get to know who you really are so they can help life go right.
Call me, State Farm agent Allison Horner in Mobile at 666-1616.
Hey, this is Cam Marston. If sales in your business comes from prospecting to create leads that lead to sales, I want to tell you about Sales Up Coach, a cloud-based system created for the next generation of sales professional. There's a big difference between being busy and being effective. And Sales Up Coach helps salespeople who rely on prospecting uncover which of their activities produce the greatest results. Over time, Sales Up Coach's machine learning hones salespeople's schedule to focus only on activities that generate the most bang for the buck. Your sales team interacts with Sales Up Coach on their smartphone, and sales managers can instantly generate reports to see who is on goal and who may need additional support. Go online and take a look at this new and very powerful sales tool. Go to salesupcoach.com/Cam Marston. Watch your sales team's productivity change.
Is your business growing? Does your existing metal building need an update? Expansion? New roof? With almost 20 years of experience, Mosley Building Systems is the leading metal building contractor along the Gulf Coast. We are your local design build experts. From expansion to new construction or repairs, we can guide you through all aspects of your project. Mosley Building Systems works with each client to fulfill their vision. For more information, go to mosleybuildingsystems.com.
We're back. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston, and on the line with me is David Morris, the founder and CEO of QB Country, headquartered in Mobile. David's story is, and I'll drop some of this in throughout the show, different parts of his resume. High school quarterback here in Mobile at McGill-Tulane, four-year letterman, has a record for most yards passing at McGill-Tulane. Went on to Ole Miss and was going to be a quarterback there, but this dude named Eli Manning showed up. And David became a student of the game at that point. David, am I misrepresenting anything? And by the way, welcome to the show. Thank you very much.
Cam, thanks for having me. No, that's about right. I like wrapping my story up in a minute or so, and so that was about right. Career second stringer in college is what I always say.
Career second stringer in college. That's great. Well, let's talk perhaps as we go along about a lot of second stringers and how they became coaches. It seems like a lot of coaches have a common theme in their background, and that is that they watched the game from very closely on the sideline. Maybe didn't get in as much, but watched it very closely on the sideline. We'll touch that. But before we do, talk to me about QB Country. First, is it called QB Country or is it called Quarterback Country?
So, yeah, it's QB Country, and a lot of people do say Quarterback Country. We do have, we from time to time, call it Quarterback Country just because it kind of, I guess, represents obviously what QB is. So, but in general, the webpage is qbcountry.com and the brand is QB Country. And and about QB Country, we are a quarterback training and development company, and we are based right here in Mobile. Obviously, like you mentioned, played quarterback at Ole Miss and kind of played quarterback all my life, and I would say playing football was my first love, and so I was able to do it in college. And then when I got out, the void was there, and so you're not playing, but you still love it. And so I was in real estate, and the way QB Country got started, was I just had, fathers would call me and say, hey, would you mind spending some time with my son? He's a, middle school or high school quarterback. And, and so they just knew that I had played in the SEC. And so that was kind of fed the itch of, okay, I'm not on the field playing still, but I'm on the field. And you kind of, you kind of have that love of the field. And so that kind of, those requests essentially got me back on the field, the place that I just loved so much. And that's kind of how this thing got going. It was totally a side gig from about 2003 until 2009. And then I just said, you know what, man, I like this a lot more than real estate. I don't know how the heck I'm going to, make a living, but I'm just going to go for it. So anyway, so that's kind of how it all got going. And we train middle school, high school, college, and NFL quarterbacks.
I feel like, David, I remember seeing you out on the fields at Spring Hill Colleges on Spring Hill College on Saturday or Sunday. Yep. A lot of people maybe sitting on the tailgate of a truck waiting for their turn with you. And just, this was, I guess, at that time, a cash business. A father was paying you cash to get their kids to run some routes or get their kids some reps with the football. What was it that made you say, you know what, there's a business model here, and moreover, we can have 11 cities, I want you to list those 11 cities, across the Southeast doing this. What happened in 2010 that said, this is a business and I need to create a model out of this?
Well, yeah, it's one of those things that I didn't know initially that it was. I just thought it was more of a way to stay in football. And, I on the side, I had coached a little in high school and I loved it. And same token, there was something about being on the field with, 3 or 4 or 5 quarterbacks from different schools and then the community even that it created, right? And maybe the bridges that it created. And so I that really was unique to me in the sense that, public school kids from Baldwin County or, training with a private school kid from Mobile or something along those lines. And next thing you know, these guys know each other. They become great friends, and so there was as much of an emotional / feel good to me that was like, golly, this is bridging gaps. This is creating friendships. This is obviously we're building quarterbacks. So there was the thing that I just saw a lot of synergy, right, between community, work ethic, discipline, attention to detail, and then the thing that we can't forget, I think, in any business, particularly teaching or coaching, is the ability, kind of the giving and receiving, right? And so the ability to give of a teacher gives from their expertise and gives from their experiences and just the passion in which that's delivered. And then the receiving of the coaching from the kid, and then also the giving and receiving that the coach receives when a kid accepts and even has an aha moment of I get it, right? And so that gives something to the coach. And so I just think there was so much going on there for years and years that got my head spinning that it was just a no-brainer. Now the hard part was trying to figure out how to create a model because there wasn't one. And
right.
So I think that the model totally gradually kind of evolved and it's changed from what it was then to what it is now. And that's kind of where we are. It was a lot of data collected over a period of time that kind of got us to where we are now. But as anything that is probably worthwhile, it's evolved and changed a lot.
Are you a franchise? First list the 11 cities where you're located. We know Mobile.
Yeah, so we're in Mobile. We're in Birmingham. We are in New Orleans. We're in Atlanta. We're in Jackson, Mississippi. We are in Charlotte. We're in New Jersey. We are in Memphis. We're in Nashville. We're in Dallas. And who am I forgetting?
You mentioned Jacksonville. Are you in Tampa? Are you anywhere else down in Florida?
Orlando. Yep, Orlando. And so my coach there, Charlie Taft, longtime college football coach for 40 years, recently passed away. And so Charlie, just an incredible guy. We're trying to figure out how to replace him. It's going to be really hard. But yeah, Orlando is our 11th location, and so that's kind of wraps it up. We just opened in Jersey, and we've been in Dallas for 2 years.
Are you a franchise?
We are not. No, the way we're built is we are essentially kind of built like a broker agent relationship. When I was in real estate, it's kind of how I learned business. It was there's a broker. there's an agent, and on every deal there was a commission split, right? And so that's kind of how, for better or worse, how I built this business and how we're set up. So the coach is the agent, and kind of QB Country is the broker, if you will, and so for every sale or every package that's sold or every dollar that comes in, there's a split.
Yeah. Are you selling this idea, this concept into different cities, or are these cities? Let's take Charlotte. Is Charlotte calling you saying, hey, I'd like to do your thing here?
Do you mean like how's the structure of what's the structure of day to day, or do you mean like if new people call?
New people call. I want to know, is the demand? Are you pushing the demand, or is demand driving you? You're trying to fit.
We're trying not to grow too fast. I just we've made mistakes there in the past that thought that, oh, this is going to work great here, and it didn't. So the way we got, I'd say we get reached out by several coaches a week that would like to learn more how to create a location, and we kind of pump the brakes a little, because I think we know the model better than we've ever known it, but I think we got a long way to go still, just in trying to make sure before we go into a rapid growth and we try to expand too fast. I just think there's dangers there, and really not knowing the terrain or the lay of the land. And so what we're trying to do is get better with our internal systems and try to create this thing that's a little bit more bulletproof. And so, but like in general, the locations where we're all on the same script every week, and we do CE kind of similar to a normal kind of business structure.
We're going to go to break, and when we come back from break, I want you to define for me who your customer is. Is it the parent? Is it the athlete? Is it the team? Is it the viewing audience for the NFL? Who's your customer? And we'll discuss that when we come back from break. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. On the line with me, David Morris, founder, CEO of QB Country. Some elite athletes hanging around this town, courtesy of David. We'll be back.
I'm David Nelson, brewmaster and owner of Braided River Brewing. We want beer that goes along no matter where the adventure takes us, and that doesn't make us choose between great beer and drinkability. We're drawn to the Delta and united by beer, because to us, the best way to celebrate the Delta is to slow down and savor the moments and the beer together. Come visit our tap room in downtown Mobile and ask for us at your favorite bar or restaurant. Visit online at braidedriverbrewing.com.
Investing, connecting, leading, providing. The Community Foundation of South Alabama brings together philanthropic assets to make Southwest Alabama a better place to live, work, and play. We link donors to philanthropy. Working with you, we build communities. Contact us at communityfoundationsa.org.
Human Resource Departments spend countless hours on insurance billing mistakes, Obamacare rules, and compliance. Employee benefits serve the purpose of recruiting, retaining, and rewarding employees. We can handle all of your benefit needs with cost-effective products, employee enrollments, and handle your HR issues. Benefit admin doesn't have to be complicated. My name is Michael Cowart Jr. of the Cowart Group, and we specialize in helping businesses with their employee benefit packages. Visit CowartAssociates.com.
David Morris is the founder and CEO of QB Country. He's born and raised here in Mobile, Alabama, McGill Tulane Catholic School graduate, and now hanging out with some of the most elite athletes in pro sports today, quarterbacks whose names that you would recognize and others whose names you will recognize. David, prior to the break, we were talking about who your customer is, and I think a simple answer is obviously the person that pays you. But do you see it differently than that? When you've got the quarterback in your hands, essentially as their coach, you're shaping the attitude of kids for the future. You're shaping what is expected of the next generation of quarterback. Who is your customer?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think it's one that in the independent training world of sports, you gotta really understand that it's a lot of different people, because really what we are is you could see us as supplemental training, so maybe something that they may not be getting at the high school because simply that the coaches don't have enough time, right? Or, maybe we're able to spend more time on individual periods or skill development where the schedule at high school is just, there's not enough time to do that. Right. And so I think it starts with the family, and it starts with winning the trust of parents, because we do train a lot of middle school kids. I think obviously then you got to win the trust of the kid, and whether it be high school or middle school. And I've learned that you really can't fool kids. You can't trick them. And I think, parents are watching, and so I think that there is, and they've been, a lot of these kids have been around a lot of good coaches, so you can't fake it. And then finally, I would say it's the high school coach. And I think and the reason why, they don't, some booster clubs do pay us, but for the most part, the coach is, the coach of these high school kids. And so, the relationship there has to be one of mutual respect. We got to know our role. And I think that there's got to be confidence on both sides that, look, I trust you and what you're doing. And obviously on our side of things, we know that we're a small piece of the puzzle. And so I think winning over and winning the trust of all three of those people is part of it. And that's why it's hard, because that's hard to do. In normal business, you got to win one person over. And I think in this business, it's and the reason it takes so long is because you earn every kid.
And are the coaches in your ear? Let's first I've got too many questions in my mind. First, give me a breakdown of percentages of age of child. Most are middle school, most high school, most college. What is the breakdown? Would you guess? So the breakdown essentially would be, I would say, half and half high school, middle school, as far from bulk business. Our model is high school, middle school, right? Yeah. Well, we train a lot of. We've had 170 kids sign scholarships, quarterbacks, over the last 7 signing classes, and so this year we had 31. So like last week or 10 days ago, it was signing day, and then in December it was early signing period. So the combination of those two, we had about 31 quarterbacks sign across the country, and each year, I think with last year we had closer to 40. So in the last 4 years, let's say we've had 100. 115 plus or minus. So we have a lot of college quarterbacks now, right? And so the way we built our business is let's get them better, create great foundations initially, and then we create programming that would then serve them as high up as they want to go. And so we've been fortunate enough to have 11 NFL quarterbacks right now. And so again, that doesn't happen overnight. But I think that the bulk of and really the heart of our business, the core business, is high school, middle school. And then if we do it right there, what we believe is some of these kids are going to be good enough to make it. We have a recruiting product that we can help open up doors, and it works. And it's hard. It's hard business. It's really relationship based. And then as they get into college and NFL, we have programs built for the advanced quarterback. Are the quarterback coaches on the high school and middle school teams in your ear saying, this is my quarterback and his name, and I'll pick a name. His name is John. John does this well. I need you to work with him on this. Or are you in communication with these coaches regularly on the product or the acceleration of their high school or middle school quarterback?
Yeah, not necessarily the middle school kids. I think that, it's just a lot of the time middle school coaches are fathers that are just giving their time. Right. Yeah. And so I think that's a little different, but high schools, absolutely. We have a good relationship there. And, I think what happens with the high school coach is they understand that our niche is probably more mechanics and footwork and rhythm and teaching more defensive football, where their niche is going to be more teaching their particular offense, and then teaching their particular timing of how concepts unravel and unfold, and teaching the X's and O's of offensive football, where we get into that in a general standpoint, like routes and concepts and, so basically concepts that are very, that would be very consistent across any, football team. But we don't get into particular, X's and O's of their offense unless it's a one-on-one setting and we have the time to do that. But yeah, I mean, I would say that for the most part, it's an important part of initially getting on the same page with the high school coach. And then what happens from there is, there's trust built, and then there's check-ins and stuff, but it's not as consistent as you may would think, because I think they understand that, okay, when they're with them, they're getting better, and they could be doing something else, right? They could be playing on PlayStation, or they could be out and about, driving around, getting into trouble, and instead they're in their free time, spare time, extra time, they're working on getting better. So it makes some sense.
Are there parents who put unreasonable expectations on you for their child? In other words, they think their child is going to go first round in the NFL draft. You can look at that child and say, great kid, given everything he's got, but his talent isn't going to get him to the first round of the NFL draft. How do you deal with the delicate situation of having to be realistic with a parent who I suspect, and I can see them in my mind's eye, are at every practice, watching everything, critiquing you on your critique of their child? It's got to get awkward sometimes, huh?
Well, I think it used to. I think you just tell them the truth, and the truth is that stuff doesn't matter right now, and that stuff is not important right now. And really, what it is it's just silly to talk about. We were fortunate to have 3 NFL quarterback rookies last year that started in the NFL, and all of them been training with us since 9th or 10th grade. And, one of them was the 6th pick of the draft last year, Daniel Jones. And we never once in high school, even in college, never talked about the NFL. It's just not the way you do it. And so what we do, we've gotten really good at just telling parents the truth. And the truth is that's not real. That's not why we're here. We're not here to take your son to the NFL. That's just not the way we're building this thing. We train as many third stringers as we do first stringers. And what we're really trying to do is build the young man and try to teach him, hey, you can work hard and you're going to see fruit, and you're going to see the fruit of discipline and communication. And when you talk to me, you're going to look in the eye and look me in the eye. And when I give you a critique, it's not because I'm trying to have power over you. It's because I want you to get better. And over a period of time, if you listen, that you're going to get better and you're going to create muscle memory. And so, I think this is as much about trying to help a kid have confidence, help a kid see what hard work and responsibility does, as it is about, helping them get to the next level. Look, we want our guys to play at the next level, whatever level that may be. But it's not, what we talk about initially. Now, when you get in high school, we do talk about, hey, okay, if he wants to get recruited, how do you do that? But I've gotten good at coaching parents because, I have kids myself, and sometimes we think we're doing what's best for them, and really, we're kind of on the wrong track. And so, we've gotten good at just saying, hey, slow down. You don't want to be that dad. Let's just you don't need to be talking about football at all, and let his coach do that, let me do that. You just he just kind of if he brings it up, talk to him about it, but we're not talking about football all the time at the house. It's just not the way it should be.
Do you have a parenting style, this is kind of personal, that you've adopted as a result of watching the most successful kids, that maybe they have something in common in their background that their parents gave to them, or some parenting behaviors that you've seen from other parents that you've said that I need to mirror that when it's my turn?
Yeah, the hardest kid to parent is your own, right? And I know that. I got a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I'm not doing a great job so far, probably. But I think in general, what I've learned and what I want to have in our house is just discipline, responsibility, love, right? I want to love my kid to the fullest, and because of that, there's responsibility, and there's got to be discipline, there's got to be respect, right? And so I just think, I don't ever want to be the parent that makes an excuse for my child or defends my child when really my child was the one in the wrong. And so, just the ability to take responsibility and create that, with our quarterbacks, when we break down at the end of all of our breakdowns after our practice, everybody's breathing hard. I mean, we just hit condition because we condition every time we see them because we think that there's a lot grown there. And so we come around the circle and everybody looks at, there's literally 12 kids and every single one of them goes around the circle about one thing they learned and one thing they need to get better at. And so there's this moment of vulnerability, of responsibility that says, hey, I need to get better here. And it's okay that I'm telling all you guys that I'm not great at this because the next guy's going to say something. And so I think there's something there about, here's maybe a weakness or something, an opportunity in which I can grow. And so, again, it kind of goes back to trying, our hardest to do the same for our children. And I got the kind of luxury of being able to do it to kids that aren't my own, that therefore, just because they're not my own, they may look at me and listen a little harder, right? So that's it's kind of a fun aspect of what we do.
David Morris is the founder and CEO of QB Country. They train quarterbacks, middle school, high school, college, and well as pro. They're based here in Mobile. They've got 11 locations around, it sounds like, the Deep South. Trying not to grow. I love that, David. Trying not to grow. You're trying to take this thing methodically. And when we come back from break, David, I want to talk a little bit about the athletes themselves. And you mentioned a word there that I mentioned in my opening comments that you weren't on the line to hear, and that's vulnerability. Is there any more vulnerable position in sports than the quarterback, both physically as well as to the scrutiny of the audience, of the masses? We'll get into that when we get back. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston, and we'll be back after this break.
The Community Foundation of South Alabama links donors to philanthropy, builds networks across 8 counties, and builds dreams for those in need. Through our donors' gifts, we make investments that enhance our community via initiatives with broad impact. Working with you, we build communities. Contact us at communityfoundationsa.org.
First Protective is a multidimensional financial firm specializing in risk management. We blend all dimensions of financial services, offering our producers diverse products to create multiple revenue streams. If you're a life insurance producer or in the traditional investment business looking to grow your business, we can help. Call me, Jay Stubbs, at 251-604-7024 or find me online at www.firstprotective.com.
Life insurance is one of those subjects that make people want to change the subject rather than admit they probably don't have enough. I'm State Farm agent Allison Horner, and that's why I focus on how the benefits of life insurance actually live on by asking people to think in terms of life without having to sell the house insurance, or life without having to give up college insurance. Find out how the benefits of life insurance can live on for your family. Call me, State Farm agent Allison Horner, and get to a better state with State Farm.
I'm Matt Armbruster with Ransom Ministries. We help people in our community that most others have given up on. Please donate your unwanted electronics to Ransom Recycling. We teach life skills, job readiness, and job creation through our electronic recycling program. We take anything with a cord. Find us at ransomministries.com or you can call us at 251-751-0044.
David Morris is the CEO of QB Country here in Mobile, training elite quarterbacks as well as your average Joe to become perhaps maybe one of these elite quarterbacks. And David, prior to the break, we were talking, or I wanted to prompt you a little bit about the vulnerability of the quarterback. It seems like this is a personality of an individual that has to be vulnerable. You talked about the way you circle up at the end of the practice and everybody mentions something that they need to work on that they discovered that day. And that is an element of vulnerability. But more so than the physical vulnerability of the quarterback position with a lineman or a linebacker or falling on you or even tripping over your own man and tearing your ACL, there's the scrutiny of the millions at the pro level. There's the scrutiny of the hundreds of thousands at the collegiate level. And there's the scrutiny of the hundreds upon hundreds at the high school level. Is there any position more vulnerable than the quarterback? And what do you do to train that in them?
I don't think there is, Cam. I think that this position is so so vulnerable. I mean, every Friday or every Saturday or Sunday, these guys are out there, right? And they are going to be seen, and they are going to be judged, and for better or worse, they're going to be lifted up or stomped on, and because that's kind of the nature of the fan, the fickle fan, and really the nature of us as human beings. But what it does is it teaches a kid, first of all, the reality of the world, kind of the through the ups and downs, through the highs, the lows, the wins, the losses, the 2-minute victory, in which he drove the team down the field and won, and then the pick six, loss. You not only prepare for that, you actually talk about it. And so, these days are coming. Tom Brady's thrown five interceptions in multiple games, and every good quarterback has. And so I just think there is a certain responsibility there. And I just love what it teaches a young man, that, on the outside looking in at quarterback, there's a lot of glamour. Everybody wants to be the quarterback. They want their child to be the quarterback. There's not a whole lot of glamour internally, because look, there's big wins and there is, newspaper clippings and all that, and that's fun, but there's not a lot of glamour, when you're talking about playing this quarterback at the highest level, because there's just as much disappointment as there is, mountaintop experience. And so I just think that there is something here that, not to mention, in a huddle, and you got 10 guys looking at you, and you're calling the play, and you're the way you deliver the play call may or may not have consequence, or it may or may not deliver an energy or an air of confidence or of insecurity, right? And so a lot of the time, the success of the play may have a lot to do with how the play call is delivered in the huddle, and also maybe what has happened prior to that. And so there's just so much mentally that goes on. There's so much, obviously, the physical aspect. You better play well, or else you're gonna, everybody sees it, right? But just the ability to balance all this, and then to communicate confidence is something that's really tricky for adults, much less a 16-year-old kid.
Are you telling me that you coach your students on how to deliver the play call in the huddle?
We do. Yeah, we do. We talk about it a lot. How do you deliver your cadence at the line of scrimmage will tell you a lot about how a defense will look at you. If you're timid and you're, blue 80, ready, set, right? That says something to that Mike linebacker or that nose guard whose job is to crush you, right?
Right.
Versus if you have command and, Max 44, blue 80, set.
Yeah.
Right? There's a little bit of a confidence. There's a little bit of, okay, I got this, right? And all that stuff is being listened to and paid attention to. It's hard to trick a Mike linebacker, a middle linebacker, into thinking you're confident if you're not.
Pretend you're in front of a flip chart, and there's this room full of students in front of you, and you are going to list the qualities of the best quarterbacks. What is that list? And I'm not just talking about physical qualities, but emotional qualities as well.
Yeah. So it starts with confidence. It starts with poise. It starts with leadership. Competitiveness may be number one. And then, mental toughness, and how do you build and breed mental toughness? I think that's nourished over a period of time, a long period of time. I do think you can get better there. But those are all kind of intangibles. The ability to be a leader, right? All of those things kind of equal a leader. And then I think, on the confidence side of things, you gotta own your leadership style. And I've seen just, 1,000 different personalities. I mentioned Daniel Jones last year for draft prep, guy we trained for a long time. He was the 6th pick of the draft. And he is just a super intelligent kid that is an incredible leader of men. But he's not the most verbal guy in the world all the time. He wins the team, wins the locker room by his hard work, by his consistency, by his the way he prepares, and the way that he judges and kind of critiques himself, right? And so there's other people like this year. Jake Fromm is one of our guys from Georgia who's a little bit more verbal. He's an incredible leader too, and he's going to be the guy that probably speaks up more often. And both of those leadership styles work in a big way. But you got to do it the way you do it. You can't fake it because another guy did it a different way. And so just think the ability to lead, and have confidence there, and the ability to do it the only way you know how, the way God created you, and to not flinch and to not have insecurity in the delivery of that, whether it be on the field or in your message.
So you see a lot of these intangibles in the guys that you work with. Do ever coaches at the next level, whatever that may be, I like how you put that, whatever that student or that athlete wants the next level to be, do you ever get calls from the coaches or the agents? Do you deal with agents or the NFL guys asking you about the intangibles?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All the time. We talk to college coaches every day. And we talk to NFL agents every day, and because people are kind of wanting to know about the next guy potentially. We're in draft prep. We have 4 guys right now that we're getting ready for the draft, and all 4 of those guys have different agents. And so we're it's one's Caleb Barker at Troy, one's Jake Fromm, one's Shea Patterson, who is at Ole Miss and then Michigan, and then one's Alex Hornibrook, who is at Wisconsin and then FSU. And so all these guys have different agents. So you're talking to those guys and trying to kind of come up with a plan. And that's a negotiation in itself because, they're not just talking to you. Usually they're talking to a couple of different quarterback coaches. And then obviously there's the financial side of training and getting those guys ready for the NFL Combine and for their All-Star game and for their pro days. And so there's multiple things that you're discussing and talking through, but it's kind of part of everyday life when you get into some of the higher level or college and NFL training, obviously particularly NFL prep.
Do you feel like this individual is a product? Have they become a product of yours, or is there still a human in there? What about the agent's attitude? Do you feel like the agents see this individual as a product, as a paycheck, or a human?
I mean, it's absolutely. I think that the quarterback is a human, right? and it's a relationship, and that's how we're always going to be. We love the relationship. I still every Saturday morning we'll be up here early, and we have that youth or middle school group, and then a high school group. And man, sometimes I don't want to be up at 6:30 on a Saturday morning and go up there. But when I get up there and I see those kids look you in the eye, and they're here to get better, and they're here to listen and to work, and you got parents that are bought in and invested and kind of trusting you, right? And look, there's a business aspect because this is how we make a living, but it's no different necessarily than what Nick Saban's doing at Alabama or what Coach Campbell's doing at South Alabama. I mean, these guys, they make a living, but at the same token, what their passion is and their purpose is the impact of young men, and I think they feel, and I know I feel like this is my vocation, and I feel like this is the way that I can make the world a better place in my own little way, and I'm not trying to change the world. I'm just trying to give every kid that comes through our program all we got, and that's the way we build our company and the way that our coaches feel. And none of these guys are making gobs of they're just tons of money necessarily. These guys are working hard, and they believe in that it's just more than money. And it's just the making the living aspect is hard, it's challenging, but it's also fun, and it's something that we're learning a lot as we go. But I mean, I'll say that every one of our coaches, if they weren't making money, this would still be the thing, that gets them out of bed, and they'd be doing it for free probably, right? And it's just this thing that it's the itch that only can be itched by, being out in the field.
Tell me a story, David, about a great success. And I suspect that as a quarterback, you have stories that you could relive firsthand of being a quarterback at McGill and seeing things at Ole Miss. But I want to hear a great story of success, what it looks like and feels like from your eyes now as a quarterback coach.
Jeez, man, I got so many. I'll go two of them. One's local, and then one's one that you guys have probably heard about. But
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay. So the first one is there's a kid. I don't mind mentioning his name. His name's Harry Satterwhite. He was at McGill Tulane. Kid I've trained since about 8th grade. And Harry was behind a really good player at McGill, Jason Smith, who signed with Auburn, dual threat quarterback. Harry could have played anywhere in the city, but he had to sit behind Jason, and he didn't get to play until his senior year. Well, he breaks the single season pass record, which was something I held, which I was so excited. He broke the record, right? And then he gets a scholarship to West Alabama. But just the patience, the persistence, the discipline, the humility, the teammate in it, and just the way that him and his family handled it. He has a little brother named Sam Satterwhite who's just as impressive. But just they were great teammates. They didn't pack up and leave. They competed, they waited, and it paid off. He broke every record at West Alabama, and now he's just got a GA job at South Alabama. Just an incredible story. The next one, I'll just say, one that I just admire so much is Archie Manning. I know I'm best friends with Eli, and been fortunate to know that family and just see how he's done it. Archie's the most humble man I've ever met in my life, and he's also he does the little things as good as anybody that I've ever seen. Just writing letters and being good to everybody, just being a good man and teaching his children the importance of humility, of hard work, and looking people in the eye and treating them all the same. And just everybody knows the story of their children. But that man, Archie Manning, he's just as good as he gets, and he's just somebody I'm super fortunate to be able to know well and have a relationship with.
Where are you going to be in 5 years?
5 years, geez, think about it a lot. I'll be sitting right here, and we'll have more going on. We'll be busier. We'll have more locations, and hopefully this thing will be rolling down the road. But don't want to get away from our roots of, each kid is important, and each person that is in comes through our program is an opportunity and a blessing. And it's someone that we're not dumb enough to think that we're the only one given, right? We receive so much in that, and just the ability to be able to look kids in the eyes and tell them the truth is really all I want to do with my life. And so wherever that takes us, we're ready.
It sounds like you correctly put your finger on a need in the community, just as much for quarterbacking as for building respect and leadership. And for that, I think the rest of us, all the listeners and the people that interact with these people, these kids that you're sending out into the football fields, are grateful for the work that you do, man. You get a lot of attention through the talent that you bring through this city and the talent that you've trained to put on those fields. However, I get the sense that there's a whole lot more to it than simply creating a quick speed, twitch, release, footwork quarterback. There's a lot of other stuff going on, and for that, we're grateful. David, we wish you the best. Thank you for your time today.
Hey, Cam, thanks so much. I love what you're doing. I appreciate you telling our story and so many others. Keep up the good work, man.
Appreciate that. Folks, you're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. We'll be back after this break with final comments.
Do you sometimes wonder about different money topics, but struggle to find the answers? The Every Dollar Counts podcast with Gulf Coast experts Josh Knoll and Jay Stubbs is made for those folks serious about their financial plan and looking for answers. Josh and Jay dedicate their time to explaining the various services and products available, as well as discussing lifestyle and money interests of the modern-day family. Tune in to Every Dollar Counts on Apple Podcasts and everywhere else you get your favorite podcasts.
Is your business growing? Does your existing metal building need an update? Expansion? New roof? With almost 20 years of experience, Mosley Building Systems is the leading metal building contractor along the Gulf Coast. We are your local design build experts. From expansion to new construction or repairs, we can guide you through all aspects of your project. Mosley Building Systems works with each client to fulfill their vision. For more information, go to mosleybuildingsystems.com.
I'm David Nelson, brewmaster and owner of Braided River Brewing. We want beer that goes along no matter where the adventure takes us and that doesn't make us choose between great beer and drinkability. We're drawn to the Delta and united by beer because to us, the best way to celebrate the Delta is to slow down and savor the moments and the beer together. Come visit our tap room in downtown Mobile and ask for us at your favorite bar or restaurant. Visit online at braidedriverbrewing.com.
I want to thank David for his time today. What he didn't say that we didn't get to in the interview that I knew that he and I discussed during the breaks is that the NFL draft is April 23rd through 25th. And a good bit of his time is being spent right now getting some of his select customers, I guess, prepared for the NFL draft. That's a pretty big deal, folks. That's a pretty big deal. And he gave us some time during the middle of his, I imagine, draft prep. The middle school and high school students come after school in the afternoon, but in the middle of the day, it's draft prep with some pretty elite athletes, and I'm grateful for his time. It's also nice to hear that a guy that has such a significant role in children's lives himself has found a role model, a mentor in other people that are guiding him, and that's just great. I suspect the parents, and I'll begin asking these parents of kids that I know that send their kids to QB country, are grateful for the influence that David and his team have over these youth. And it's just great. It's just great to have people like this doing stuff like this in this city. I continue to find people that are doing remarkable things in our community, and makes me just proud. I'll be honest with you. Just simply makes me proud. All right, let's wrap it up today. I want to, as always, make sure you get content on how to get in touch with us. The newest and, ironically, quickest growing way is Instagram. Enter What's Working with Cam Marston on Instagram and recognize that there are no apostrophes in Instagram, and you'll find our show. Also on Facebook, search What's Working with Cam Marston on Facebook. You'll find the show there. Our Twitter handle, What's Working Cam. And the phone number, 251-260-8100. Again, 251-260-8100. It's an unmanned line. You can text that number. I'll get the text. You can leave us a message. I'll get the message. And finally, enter CAM, C-A-M, at what'sworkingcam.com. That email again, CAM, C-A-M, at what'sworkingcam.com. The show producer, John Thompson with Ion Digital. John does great work for me, and that's spelled E-Y-E-O-N Digital. You want to see what a good production company does? Google that, John Thompson. And I can't help but thank over and over again Kristen Ogden. Kristen screens a lot of these people. She puts our calendars together, makes it work so that we can all connect and have these conversations. That's it for this week, everybody. We'll have another show for you next week. Have a good week.